You think you know the story of Walt Disney, the magic, the kingdom, the mouse that started it all. But this is the story of what came before all that. A story that begins not with a dream, but with a devastating failure. Seriously, what would you do? Imagine pouring your entire heart and soul into creating something, watching it become a success, only to have it ripped away from you, leaving you with absolutely nothing. This isn't some fairy tale. This is exactly what happened to Walt Disney. Welcome to Money Lessons by History, where we learn from real stories of financial success and failure. Okay, let's dive into this incredible journey of resilience. Long before he was the Walt Disney, he was just Walter, a farm boy from Missouri with this restless, burning ambition. He was absolutely determined to make his mark on the world. But, well, the world wasn't quite ready for him yet. And you can kind of see a pattern forming early on. I mean, at 16, he lies about his age just so he can drive an ambulance in World War I. He comes back at 17, dead set on being an artist. But by the time he's 22, his first shot at a cartoon business goes completely bankrupt. It was a tough, harsh lesson, and it definitely wouldn't be his last. So, after that first big failure, Walt packs his bags for Hollywood. He and his brother Roy start up the Disney Brothers studio, and it's right there that he gets his first real taste of success and his most painful betrayal. In 1927, it finally happened. They struck gold. Walt and his small team created this character that just took off. The cartoons were a huge hit, and it really looked like Disney was finally on the path to success. And that character's name was Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. He was charming, he was popular, and for a hot second, he was Disney's entire future. Walt was convinced he had a hit franchise on his hands. He couldn't have been more wrong. So Walt heads to New York to negotiate a new contract, right? He's thinking he's going to get a better deal, more money. But what he didn't know was that he was walking straight into an ambush. He was about to learn a brutal lesson in business that would scar him and define him for the rest of his life. Okay, so let's just break down how this went down, because it is wild. On one side, you've got Walt, the creator, assuming he's in charge. But on the other side, his distributor had been making moves behind his back. He'd secretly hired away, poached, most of Walt's best animators. And then came the knockout punch. The distributor points to the fine print in the contract. Turns out, they owned the copyright to Oswald, not Walt. It was a total masterclass in betrayal, and a lesson Walt would never forget. If you don't own your work, you control nothing. His character, his animation team, his entire hit franchise, poof, gone, in an instant. He had to walk away with nothing, except a vow that he would carry with him forever. Never again would he create something that he didn't own 100%. Now, this is the moment where most people would just quit, and who could blame them? But for Walt, this crushing, humiliating defeat became the fire, the fuel for his greatest creation ever. This is where the Disney story really begins. So what does he do on that long train ride home? In total desperation, he basically sketches a modified version of Oswald, shortens the ears, and boom, Mickey Mouse is born. But nobody wanted him. Distributors rejected him over and over. So Walt took another insane risk. He bet everything he had left on adding synchronized sound to the cartoon, something that had never been done successfully before. The result was Steamboat Willie. And literally overnight, Mickey Mouse wasn't just a character, he was a global icon. If you're enjoying this story, hit subscribe and stay with us, because the most important part is coming next. We're talking about the part where Walt makes a bet so huge it would either build an empire or destroy his company for good. Okay, so Mickey Mouse is a hit, the company's growing, but for Walt, cartoons were just the beginning. He had this vision that was so much bigger than a movie screen. He wanted to build an actual physical world. And to do that, he created this incredible team and gave them a brand new name, Imagineers. You get it? Part imagination, part engineer. Their job was basically to invent the impossible, to build something the world had never, ever seen before. You have to understand how radical his idea for Disneyland was. Back then, amusement parks were kind of dirty, a little chaotic, maybe not so safe. Walt imagined a theme park, a totally new concept, a place that felt like you were walking onto a movie set. It had to be perfectly clean, sure, but also perfectly designed. He wanted to control every single detail, from the color of the pavement to the smell of the popcorn, to create a perfect, immersive experience. See, it all goes back to that lesson he learned with Oswald. This time, he would control everything. And everyone, everyone, thought he was crazy. The bankers, the experts, even his own brother, Roy, begged him not to do it. They called it Walt's folly. To build this thing, Walt had to borrow against his own life insurance policy, sell off property, and take out millions in loans. He literally bet the entire company on this impossible dream. And this quote from Walt himself, it just perfectly captures his whole philosophy. He knew that success wasn't about one perfect game-winning home run. It was about having the guts to just keep stepping up to the plate and swinging, no matter how many times you've already struck out. And that massive swing, it connected. The day Disneyland opened in 1955, it was an absolute phenomenon. The park's success didn't just change the world of entertainment forever. It finally, after decades and decades of struggle, put the Walt Disney Company on solid financial ground. So, after all that, what can we really learn from this incredible story? What's the core money lesson that Walt Disney's life teaches all of us? Let's break it down. First, and this is a big one, resilience over resentment. After losing Oswald, he didn't waste time being bitter. He channeled that energy into creating something better. Second, innovate or disappear. He was always pushing technology, from sound in cartoons to robots in his parks. Third, control the experience. That Oswald betrayal taught him to own and control everything he made. It was all about protecting the brand and guaranteeing quality. And finally, believe in the impossible. He took these enormous financial risks on ideas that every expert around him said would fail. Which kind of leaves us with one last question to think about. Walt Disney's story is defined by bankruptcy, betrayal, and unbelievable risk. It really makes you ask yourself, how many times would you be willing to fail to make your dream a reality? If you enjoyed this story, leave a comment, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to Money Lessons by History, where every story teaches you how money really works. Thanks for watching.